Our first memory. Who hasn't tried to recall his earliest memory? We're talking vague bits and pieces of childhood reflections. A new house, a birthday, a beach during holidays, a game. It's rare though to remember things that happened before the age of 5, 4 at the most. Sometimes a more distant memory emerges, but a closer look usually reveals that a photo in a family album actually implanted that memory. As parents, we often wish that our children would remember those special moments we spent together. You know, family celebrations, a special holiday, or a dedicated teacher. Unfortunately, if a couple of years later you go drive by the kindergarten, your kid won't even recognize the place, let alone the teacher. These dedicated teachers have a pretty ungrateful job, caring and nursing those kids who won't even recognize them a couple of years down the road. Infantile amnesia is to blame here. It is rare and almost impossible for adolescents or adults to remember anything that happened before the age of 4 or 5. Some researchers claim to extend this range to 2 to 5 years. Still, that early childhood remains a mystery to our memory. After that, there are those times we remember best, like for example adolescence, and other periods remain more blurred, often those years between 30 and 40. Still, childhood turns out to be a black hole, which has widely aroused the curiosity of researchers and therapists, going all the way to creating the early childhood repression theory by psychoanalysts. Now, in all fairness, that theory is today largely marginalized, even among the followers of Freud. Research and our own experience as a parent shows that very young children can build memory. At age 2, the child remembers events that occurred 6 months earlier in time, and this gradually lengthens. However, observation shows that the earliest memories gradually wither, and around age 7 to 9, infantile amnesia appears. Events that seemed firmly established in memory start disappearing. The child lives his life, builds memories, and then they just vanish. There are variations from one child to another. It seems that girls' memories go back longer than boys, and some cultures seem more affected than others. But these variations remain nonetheless marginal. One thing seems quite clear: infantile amnesia is universal. This reality has naturally intrigued researchers and psychologists. So why does this happen? The truth is, we don't know. Various hypotheses have been put forward, some more solid than others, but in the end, we lack final evidence to know for sure. Evolutionary psychologists will say that if a characteristic disappears, it means that it does not offer a competitive advantage for the individual in terms of survival of the species. If the memory of childhood disappears, it's because it serves no purpose. Why should we remember each time we fell when we learned to walk? It would pretty much make us shy away from new learning experience, which would be counterproductive. Other research suggests an issue with language. Episodic memory is largely built on language. The thing is, our knowledge and use of language is constantly evolving. Between 1 and 10 years old, a child will go to mastering a handful of words to a few thousand words. In this context, we can easily see how a kid doesn't know how to begin to describe the images of his memories, and because of this, they eventually disappear. On top of that, the concepts of timing and duration of an event is very blurred for a child. He may have the perception that a game lasts an eternity and, conversely, that a really long trip was very short. Obviously, this temporal blur does not favor the emergence of fixed memories. For the same perspective, we can also add that the spatial perception of a child and its environment are going through a complete shift. Childhood toys disappear fairly quickly. As a child grows, perspective changes. Objects such as a table that a baby sees from below quickly reaches eye level and then is systematically seen from above. This change does not favor the reactivation of experience, nor its anchor in the long-term memory for lack of returning elements. Now, physiologists look at this from a fairly different point of view. The hippocampus is crucial to long-term memory. It seems, though, that it is functional from an early age on. However, the prefrontal areas aren't. They are not mature yet, and they do play a central role in the transition from short-term memory to the long-term memory, as well as to recall memories. It's almost as if encoding was possible, but we had no way to find them back within the neural clutter. The explanation of physiologists is that the brain is simply immature and therefore has no ability to build long-term memories. Now, what if I, as a parent or educator, would still like my little ones to remember those special moments we lived together? It's kinda sad that all those hugs and laughter and magical moments will just get flushed away. Is it really impossible to keep that alive somehow? Well, maybe there is a way around infantile amnesia. Now, infantile amnesia itself is just inevitable. What the child can remember, though, is not the event itself, but the conversation he had with us about that event as he grows up. It is therefore possible to build some kind of an external memory. So what we can do is go back to childhood places and tell them the stories, anecdotes of what happened there. Children are fascinated about their own history, from the day they were born to any event really that happened to them. So take time to talk to them in detail about what happened. Once they are 8 to 10 years old, return to the kindergarten where they spent 3 years of their lives and let them meet their childhood educators to tell them how they were. Another great idea is to put together a photo album that you can regularly go through with them. Films are great too. In today's age with cameras on every smartphone, it's easier than ever to record a memory. Just make sure you keep it all when you buy a new one. Synchronize your devices or upload it all to Google Drive. That way, you're sure you won't lose it. Finally, one last idea. Keep a notebook with all the cute and funny stuff your kids say. Write down anecdotes as well. Now, your teenage kid might hate you if he or she catches you taking notes about his life. But rest assured, it will give you plenty of material to write your speech for your kid's wedding day.